Hi guys. Hello. So if you were on Facebook, you probably saw that it went live like briefly and then it shut off. And I'm trying to like get my lighting right so that it's not like washing me out on this screen and looking fine on this one. I grabbed it as it was falling and it pressed live. So what can you do? So welcome. I am in two places right now. I'm on Facebook and on YouTube over here. So if you're just hopping on and you want to do a reading or coaching tonight, let me know. It's going to all be on business topics. And I'm Melissa. I've definitely been pushing people, encouraging people more in the direction of the coaching because I feel like that is more of the adventurous option for people that haven't experienced it versus, I mean, most people, they might know what a reading is or they've had a reading, but coaching tends to be newer for people. And so if you can get kind of a bite-sized sample of that, I mean, why not? Why not? Thank you, Krista. How are you? So what else? Yeah, so let me know if you want to hop in on this, if you want to go more in the direction of either readings or coaching. The reason that I am also, not only because coaching is more what I do than the readings, but like really liking people to kind of dive in on the readings is it's more about getting you in tune with your own intuition and inner wisdom, which is what I am all about. And if we can have some of those experiences here today and mix it up with the readings that go on, even better. Okay, so I see a few people watching in each place, but I don't know if there is and Krista, I am feeling very pregnant. Next week's gonna be the last one that I do. I'm like, let me see if I could show you guys how pregnant I am. My belly almost doesn't fit on the screen. That's how pregnant I am right now. So I'm feeling good, kind of a little more tired, but just like hanging in there and doing my thing. Yeah. Is there a certain direction we should look, Krista, or should we just see what comes up? All right. And I see you guys on YouTube, but you haven't said anything yet. So get in on the mix, unless you're just waiting to see what happens, and then you're going to decide. That's okay too. Hi, Jamie. I know. Well, I'm 37 weeks as of a couple days ago, so it kind of feels like it's gone by fast and that I've been pregnant forever at the same time. But I guess I'm trying not to expect it's happening like too fast. Hi, it's either Elias or Elias. Nice to meet you. Art. So Krista says art, film, stepping away from readings. Krista, I feel like you and I should talk. I feel like I was having the same thing coming up, and maybe it's like for different reasons, but I just like can't help but like think about what I was thinking before I jumped on this. And like at some point we should have that conversation. So I'm going to go with Krista and we're going to see what comes up for her just in terms of new adventures in her business and career. And then whoever else wants to hop in on this, comment. So you could be next. Okay. For some reason, Krista, I feel like these cards have like come up for you. I don't know. Maybe it's just the energy of it. that's come up for you. So 2 very powerful cards, King of Earth, talking about a successful time, confidently stepping into opportunities that you're offered, and the Midas touch. And the other card coming in, Krista, is not to give up, to protect that which you've created, to have courage and to believe in yourself. I'm wanting to dive into this one a little bit. Okay, so the energy that's coming up with this one, and I think it's related probably to, for you, the readings as well, but the words that are coming up is like creating more of a global impact, that there's something for you that doesn't feel no longer aligned, because instead of just sort of having this impact maybe on one person, that the other things that you're being pulled towards, the thing that they hold in common, is that it's more of this global impact, this global connection. I think already that you're clear on what the purpose of that is and what the message is that you're meant to carry. I think the only thing that I am noticing right now is that with these cards coming in that feel like they're very much like affirmative cards, encouraging cards, it feels like there's still a little bit of that hesitancy of like, is this crazy? Does this feel a little bit too big, like too grandiose? Like, is this too much too soon? But I do feel like everything that's coming forward is just like, no, girl, like this is your time. This is what you're supposed to be doing. And you have the dragon coming in with the protection as well. Okay. And so I don't know that I'm getting, I'm trying to see, let me just like focus in on this part right here. Because I do feel like there's some kind of theme that I might be getting. Okay. Krista, would you say, I don't know if I'm like interpreting this correctly, but would you say that a lot of the messages that you've been noticing, or the things that you've been pulled towards, have been related to certain chakras for individuals? I feel like there's a lot of golds and yellows that are coming in for you. But I feel like it's more related to messages for other people. So I guess my interpretation, but these colors might mean something totally different from you, since I know that you work with a lot of colors. It feels like those solar plexus and more of that manifesting energy and working with that. But that's the type of, when you're saying the global transmission, sort of the working with people and impacting people in a more global way. Like those are the 2 frequencies, colors, energies that I see you working with there. And it feels like anything that meets that criteria, it's sort of like, is it aligned with this message, right? This purpose that I'm bringing to the world, and is it impacting tons of people at once? It almost feels like those are sort of like your criteria that help you keep it simple to know if it's aligned for you right now. So I think we're just gonna leave it at that. Thank you. All right. So looking at YouTube, Jamie, yours were always 1 to 2 weeks late. I'm hoping I won't be, unless I were to have the baby on 11/11. That would be kind of cool if I was like maybe 2 days late. But Jude was like, he came like a day before his due date. So I'm hoping I won't be like going into like the super overtime, but you never know. And then I see a few others, the Talia and Heat Journey. Yeah, so Heat Journey, ask your question, dive in on this. And I'm just kind of going back and forth between YouTube and Facebook and making it happen. Got it. Okay. Thanks, Krista. Okay. Yes. Janine, tell me you want me to just pull some general cards for you, Janine? Trying to see. Okay, so Megan wants a reading. Who else is wanting one? Okay. So far I'm seeing Janine and Megan. Hey, Shun. Okay. Janine, I'm just going to go with you first. We're going to go. Okay. Yes. Okay. Janine. And then we'll do Megan after, and then we'll hop on over to. So I'm going to hide some of these. We have like the weird spammy people on YouTube right now, so I don't know if they're real people or like bots. Okay, Janine. Okay, so Janine, I just pulled this renewal card for you. It's talking about reviewing and evaluating a favorable assessment of the facts and time to move in a new direction. Look at that. And so I'll show you guys over here as well. So I think that the things that are coming up here definitely are the colors again. A lot of the spiritual energy, a lot of the third eye energy. There is a lot of yellow that's standing out as for me as well. But I do feel like the thing that I want to point out is when you look at this card, you're moving in a spiritual direction, but do you see how it looks kind of it's a little scary. It's sort of like you're leaving behind the safety of the shore and what you know, and sort of venturing out into the kind of semi-wavy, kind of treacherous waters, and really trusting in that. So I do feel like it's a very fitting card. I just noticed that there's a lot of mountains in the back, which feel really symbolic for you. I know what's going on already for you. So I can't, it's always a little bit harder when I know too much, but I do feel like this is just a card that's like really representing what you're doing right now, that you're really staying the course, you're trusting, and that you're not doing the thing that is easy by any means, but that you need to keep following that inner voice, that voice of your higher power, that voice of your higher self, because that's what has gotten you to here. So I feel like it's just a little bit of encouragement for your journey. Okay. So I'm going to go to Megan next on Facebook, and then okay. So heat journey, like there's a romance question that I see that you're asking, but I don't do those types of questions. So it's mostly on business topics, which I'll take in terms of a business that you have or want, about your career, your purpose, something related to abundance, manifesting. Those are the things that I usually get info on. So if you have something else in that realm, but I wouldn't be the right person to do a reading on that. Okay. Love you, Janine. Have a good journey. I'll talk to you soon. Okay. So what I'm going to do next in that case, since we haven't got, there's not a lot going on in terms of YouTube other than just the spamminess of it right now. So I'm going to do Megan, and then I'll go to Shun, and then we'll see where we're at from there. Okay, guys? Okay. Megan, let me get focused in on you real quick. Okay. Okay. So, Megan, the Nine of Water card is coming up for you. What I got before I pulled this card as well, the best that I can interpret the feeling is that it feels like things are being kind of dealt with and handled very meticulously, very carefully, almost like making sure that things are in their place, that things are organized. There's like a lot of structure going on in your life right now. And I think overall that seems good. That feels good. I think that I'm feeling a little bit more coming in terms of the logical mind, kind of the actions, the doing. And it's interesting that a water card came up for you because the water cards are much more about emotion. So we'll see what comes in, but I have a feeling that it's going to be a message that's much more about bringing things more into harmony, about finding that balance between the actions and the doing and the thinking and the feeling side of you. So the Nine of Water card talks about your wishes coming through, concerns fade away, and a love of life. I actually do get a lot of balance from the card. If you see like this little mermaid that's like represented in there, how she's like living, she's like half above water and half below, and she's found her balance in between these two places. I believe for you, because I do feel like there's all of the treasure kind of lies below here underneath the water. And I definitely think that there's something to be said for diving into some of those emotions that you're noticing coming up. If there's anything that's reoccurring, like if it just kind of comes and goes and you never think about it again, I don't really think there's any need to sort of go digging around in the trash, so to speak, for something to make it be a problem or to linger in that energy. But if there's something that you're noticing lately that tends to feel very reoccurring, tends to be a thought. It doesn't even necessarily actually feel like it's like a big thing. I think it's like actually easier to put off because it feels like it's sort of just like a small naggy thing. But I want you to find a way, whatever method feels good and safe for you, to just get curious about that, and to instead of sort of ignoring it or putting it on a shelf for later is what it feels like, to just get curious about it, because I do feel like it's a part of your personal development and your journey, and that there's something, even though it feels small, that's tied to you getting what you want, and growth coming out of that. So that's what I have for you, Megan. Okay, so I'm going to go to Shun, and then I'm going to... Okay. Let's see. Okay, let's see who else we've got. Okay. Heat Journey, I will go to you and I'll just sort of give you career stuff. I'm going to Shun next. Thanks, Megan. Thank you. I'm going to go to Shun next on Facebook, and then I'll go to Heat Journey on YouTube. And then I'll just sort of check in. I know you guys were asking on YouTube if there's a list. I'm sort of just going to who I feel drawn to. And sometimes that tends to be in order. And then if there starts to be a lot of people, then I might start jumping around. But that's the order right now. But make sure that you comment, or you ask a question, or you say you want a general reading, or if you want to do coaching, I can tell you guys about that too. Because that's the one I'm sort of like the juicy one I'm trying to get someone to do. So, Shun, let's go to Shun. Shun, are you still here tonight? Shun. Just going to make sure Shun's here because I like for you guys to be watching live so you can kind of respond and talk to me like we're in the same room. Okay. Okay. Hi, Shun. Okay. So I'll just give you a general reading. We'll just see what's coming up if that works for you. Okay. Let me get just tuned into you, Shun. So the first, I guess, energetic impression that I get of you, Shun, is your energy feels very, very grounded. And I start to feel energy like coming through my hands, which would make me think of like Reiki or some other energy healing type of thing. So I have a feeling that you probably already identify with that, with being a healer, but I that's certainly just the way that you feel as soon as I start to tune into your energy. It's interesting because I always look at what happens once I get tuned in, the way that I start to handle the cards, it usually comes through with that person's energy, the way that I move the cards or shuffle them. And what I noticed with you, Shun, is that I put them in two distinct, separate piles, which makes me feel like there's this part of you where your life, like there's sort of like this part of it and then this other side over here. And most of the time they don't mix, so they sort of stay somewhat separate. I don't know what that is for you because I do get the sense that there used to be more. There used to be more like boxes that you would put things in, but I do feel like you have been on this path of integration and just taking all these different parts of you and living your life, you know, as one. But I guess I'm really curious, like, are there still things in your life that feel somewhat separate? Like they feel like you need to show up a certain way over here, and then there's a different expectation over here, or that this part and this part, that they feel like they sort of don't mix or they don't align and that you're trying to fit them together. That's just what I'm getting, but I'll go to the card and we'll see what else comes up. Ah, a really spiritual card. This unity card is coming up. It's talking about traditional viewpoints or methods, spiritual organizations, seeking out mentors and like-minded friends. And so there's definitely a spiritual teacher vibe that's coming up here, and it has all of the symbols of like a lot of the major religions that are floating around this wise archangel. Shun, have you considered something with a nonprofit? Because I feel there's I see things sort of shifting for you in terms of career and things starting to come and become aligned more with something that feels really purposeful to you. But it does feel like it's going to be at some point in the future more of a business kind of venture, something that you are starting independently versus something where you are a part of something that someone else started or working for somebody else. And so I'm curious if that thought has crossed your mind, more like, oh man, one day I would totally love to start an organization like this, a nonprofit like this, because I feel like that's some kind of seed being planted. Have you had a thought like that, Shun? Because I feel like that's important, and it almost seems like this is a card that's pointing towards a future of you also being a mentor, a spiritual leader of sorts. And it seems like it would be more coming through an organization or a nonprofit like that. let me hear from you and see how that's landing. And then I can come back to that if needed. So let me check out what's going on YouTube. Okay. So we are going to go to Heat Journey, just about your journey with LPN school. And you're asking about going to a specific school. Okay. So we'll see what we get around that Heat Journey. Okay. Okay. And then, okay. Yeah, and Shun, I would definitely go with that. There's something there, so make sure that you don't push that to the side too much as something that's like not a reality for you, because I feel like that's the thing that I was meant to sort of remind you of what you're doing and what you're building towards. Okay. Trying to see who we're going to next after Shun. Who else is still here on Facebook that was asking? Because I'm scrolling up through the comments and okay. All right. We'll go to Larry after. Okay. So I'm going to go to Heat Journey, and then we'll go to Larry. And if you guys are still here, but specifically on Facebook, if you can just sort of chime in and let me know, because sometimes I start to like, it's hard for me to scroll all the way up on here and see who it is. Okay. So I'll tell you, Heat Journey, you're asking a specific question about like school, and it's kind of like, will I get into this school? Will I be successful into this career? So I just want to tell you that the way that I work with doing my readings is I typically get information that's going to give you insight that will help you get what you want. And it might be a blind spot or a thing that you just need to focus on a little bit more. It's not a lot of like yes or no kinds of like foretelling of the future, because I think that that's like a kind of a misconception with the cards and the readings. I think that there's always free will choice, and a lot of it's going to depend on how you show up and what you choose and what inner voice you choose to follow. So I do want to clarify before we dive into your career question around nursing that tends to be the direction that my readings go in. Okay. So let me get tuned into you. Okay. So Heat Journey, the Ace of Earth card came up, which is very much a card about manifesting and money. So very connected to what you're asking in terms of career. It's talking about the inflow of abundance, promising business venture, and important documents or contracts. So things that you'll be needing to in the future have to fill out, forms, things of that nature. Here's what I'm getting, because the sense that I got before the card was pulled, I don't know if you use the term prayer, but that's actually the words that came in with you, is that this goal that you're talking about with nursing school is something that you've been praying about, hoping about, dreaming about for a long time. And the way that I see the energy, I guess, being represented in this card is that it's a goal that sometimes you hold on to too tightly. Like if you think about trying to like hold something with clenched fists and your palms start to get sweaty and your hands get tired, that that there's this shift for you of not letting it go, right? Like not putting it aside, not putting it down, but for you to just kind of relax into holding that goal for yourself a little bit more. I think that the important part of it is that when you relax into it, you start to have more fun. You start to enjoy it more, because I feel this kind of like tense, nervous energy around this goal and getting into this specific school. And really, this is all about the journey versus just the destination, because as you know, once you kind of get to this school, this place, there's just going to be another journey that unfolds, some other place or goal that you're going from there. And if you're not enjoying it on the way to those milestones, like what's it really all about, right? So I feel like when you're having more fun and you're enjoying it, that you're also more aligned with that energy of getting what you want versus like blocking and pushing it away. So that's what I want you to keep in mind and really watch for right now. Okay. Okay. So after Larry, I'm going to go to Stacy. Okay. So Larry, I remember, let me know that you're still here. What I remembered reading was that there was something about a city council meeting and fighting for the little guy. That's what I remember reading a little bit up. Okay. Stacy, do you know Shun? That's so funny if you do. Okay. Let me get connected into you, Larry. Okay. What I'm noticing, Larry, is like your energy does seem very calm. Like it doesn't feel like I feel a little bit of warmth coming, heat, but it's also like, I mean, I'm super pregnant and hormonal and I just get hot. So it could just be me. But I guess what I'm getting with that heat energy is like that it's something that you really care about, something that is really important to you, and that the heat comes in from that. But I do feel like this sense of the image that comes is like a undisturbed like lake where it just looks like glass right in the early morning hours, where there's this sense of like calmness and clarity. I don't know if you're feeling like that in this moment, but that's the energy that I'm getting for you is attached to this. So I guess just know that like there's something that's going to click or change. If you are not feeling that way already, maybe if you just take a quick little moment in the morning and sort of like visualize that, because I do really get this sense that with you, that you get into this place when you talk sometimes where things just kind of flow out of you, where things just like like you're not even thinking of it, but yet the perfect words are coming. And that's the image of that I'm getting tomorrow for you with this. The King of Air card is coming, which these air cards definitely have a lot to do with intellect and kind of putting your intellect forward. Knowing what you do, I would think that being able to use your training and your credentials as a way of like leading with that. I feel like this is a crowd that feels like they're going to be very like impressed with that they're going to give more weight to what you're saying because of that. This is like the perfect card. It's saying, speak your mind with confidence, seek out professional advice, balance emotional and mental considerations. So what I want you to think about before you speak to this group tomorrow is to notice how you feel in terms of like what you're going to say, but to not worry about it too much because you know that you get into that place where things just flow out. But then also notice how you're feeling and to ask yourself, what can I do to align these two parts of me, the emotional side, the side of my mind, my intellect, and just do something for yourself like right before you go in, because I feel like for you that kind of gives you that little extra nudge that just drives it all home. So you're going to do great. Okay. Let me see. So I'm going to go to Stacy next. Elias, are you still on? Elias on YouTube? I think you might not be anymore. Let's see. Breezy Livin'. So Breezy Livin', I see you on YouTube asking about love questions. I wouldn't be like the person to ask in terms of the love questions. Business topics being career, and also that reminds me, Stacy, I think you might have typed what you were looking for above, but if you wouldn't mind giving it to me again, because I might be further up and I might get lost if I start scrolling. So Stacy, if you can tell me what you're wanting, that'll get us set up. And then Breezy Livin' or anyone else curious, business topics would to me would be career, a business that you have now or that you want to have, something around purpose, or even manifesting money, things like that are the things that I would get information on. So Breezy, I'm down to give you a reading next after Stacy if you have something outside of love. Breezy, I have not done you yet. I was just actually talking to you. So if you have something separate from love that's in one of those categories, let me know if you still want to move forward, and I would do you next. Oh, now you're saying general reading. Okay, I see that. Perfect. So this is the order right now. Stacy on Facebook, and then we'll do a general reading for Breezy Livin' on YouTube. Okay. General reading, anything that jumps out. Okay, perfect. Okay. Let me get tuned into you, Stacy. So it does feel really peaceful right now when I connect in with you, Stacy. And there's something with the energy of like ebb and flow that's coming in as well. I don't know if you've been experiencing an ebb and a flow somewhere in your life, but I just want to name that energy of the ebb and things kind of going back and gathering, and then the flow of everything where it's just like, but it feels almost like I think at times, depending on the perspective or the image that you attach to it, that sometimes it feels like it could feel chaotic or inconsistent. But I just want to sort of name that ebb and flow, because I think that might be a perspective that might be tied into something going on for you. So the 9 of Air card is coming. It's talking about expecting the worst, self-fulfilling prophecies, and sleepless nights. Okay. Give me a second, because it's always hard to pick up cards being really pregnant. Okay. So, Stacy, yeah, it's interesting. I do feel like this card seems to be the ebb and flow energy is probably tied into this thing, whatever worry is there. It's interesting. I'm just going to say, because I've dropped this card twice, I'm just going to leave it there this time. But I always feel like certain things happen in the readings because they're meant to be brought in. So maybe I wasn't getting like the symbolism of it again. So it just threw itself back on the ground. So I'm just going to say that I'm curious what it is that you need to drop right now. Like, I don't know if it's like a story, an energy, a kind of inner critic thought, but that would be my question, is sort of like what's worth sort of dropping and letting go of rather than digging into right now. I saw on the card before it left again that there seems to be some kind of time of kind of rest or recharging right now. And I think that I'm wondering if there's some kind of concern connected with that, where you're being sort of asked to kind of rest, recharge, slow down, but then there's other side of you is just like, no, like, let's go. There's things to do. There's all these big goals that I want to have before the end of the year. Like, I want it now. And so, yeah, I just want to sort of name that, because I do feel like there's sort of two very different things that are happening. And yeah, that would be like, maybe that's like a journal question, is like, what am I ready to drop, to kind of leave behind, to let go of? Because I think that there's some kind of push pull here with the energies that I think that you're probably feeling. And so surrender is coming in as well, as sort of like, what am I being asked to surrender to if I let go of these preferences of the like and the dislike? Like, what is being offered to me here? So yeah, let's leave it at that. Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's see, Breezy. So I'm going to Breezy Living on YouTube next. Okay, and then just reading this. Thanks, Stacy. Replenish energy. Okay. Okay. Okay, perfect. Thanks for naming that, Stacy. It always helps to know that it's making sense for you. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on, and so I'm trying to look at who's next. Is it Anahara? Okay. Anahara. I think you were... Is that how you say it? Anahara? Correct me if not. So Breezy Living on YouTube, and then we'll go to you, Anahara, on Facebook. Okay. Okay. Breezy. Let me get focused in on you, Breezy. Okay. Okay, Breezy, the energy that's coming in with you is a back and forth between feeling really excited and passionate about something, and then it switches over into that kind of anxious feeling where the excitement is still there, but then you're starting to feel really like anxious and nervous about it. Let's see what I got for you. This Empress card came up. It's talking about lavish abundance, giving birth to your dreams, and nurturing yourself and others. It's interesting because you were talking initially, I think it was you that was initially talking about a love card. But I feel like there's something that your focus is like wanting to be almost like your spirit team is sort of wanting you, I guess, to focus on instead of that love romance thing right now. It's not to say that you can't have both. It just seems like they're wanting right now that there's some kind of thing that you really need to be like fully present for and focused on. And that's what I'm curious about. The part about giving birth to your dreams. I'm wondering, is there a thing that, or a goal, a career move, a business that you have thought about or you started to work on and then you sort of like dropped it, like you stopped moving forward with it? I'm wondering what that thing is for you, because I feel like there's sort of this sense of returning to that, of returning to or remembering this part of you that you haven't been experiencing as much lately. I do really want to point out this part about nurturing yourself. So I'm going to show you the card here as well. Because I do feel like there's a lot of giving away of energy right now. So it would make sense that you're being asked to just really hone it all in and focus in, because it seems like really being focused on self-care or having more times of solitude, that there's something that's very, it's like a very important time for you right now. Breezy, can you tell me if that's making sense? Because specifically the one part that I'm curious if it's landing for you, Breezy, is the part about the career, the business, the thing that you were excited about at one point that you left behind. That's the part that I'm wondering if it makes sense. Okay, maybe we'll just leave it at that and we'll go over here to Facebook. How about that? It's getting pretty close to 8 o'clock. Okay. So Facebook. Sorry, I have to look closely again at your name, Anahara. Okay. Anahara. Finance. Okay. Let me get tuned into you. Okay. Okay, it's interesting, Anahara, that as soon as I started to connect in with you, it's like my Reiki energy wanted to turn on. Like, instead of saying your name, I usually will kind of just like say your name just to focus in on you and separate it from the other people or the things that I've been talking about. And it was immediately like the Reiki symbols like turning on for you. So I don't think that's ever happened during a reading. So it's just kind of interesting. I find it, it makes me curious. I would say that there must be some kind of healing, right? That's wanting to happen and turn on for you right now. And so I guess I'm just curious as well, as if you tune into yourself and your own personal energy, if you feel like there's sort of blockages or things that are needing to be healed, because that's definitely the first sense that I get of you. Is that the healing wants to turn on. We're doing a reading here, so maybe that'll come back in with the card. Okay. So you were asking a question about finance, and the card that's coming forward is a card that is what I see is much more tied to spiritual practices or a spiritual solution. And I do believe that many times things that feel like they're a challenge, a problem, that many times it is a spiritual focus that needs to be shifted for us to have the outcome that we're wanting to have. So the star card is coming up for you. It's talking about happy times, making positive, optimistic long-term plans, and that you were on the right path. I get this sense of you right now questioning a lot, whether you've made the right choices. Am I moving in the right direction? Was that the right call? And it feels like it's much more directed towards the past. So I do want you to stop doing that. I don't think that there's much back there that you can change or influence or do anything with at this point. And really just shift into the place of trusting and knowing that any decisions that you've made have led you here, that they've led you here for a reason, that you've learned something, there was somebody that you met, and just start to get into more acceptance around it, because I do think that that is the thing that is sort of clouding you being, I think, in your full energetic brilliance right now. I think that there seems to be this card here. Let's see. I'll show it to you again. Do you see the two streams of water that are pouring out? I'll let you guys see as well. There's one that has these many different paths that open. There's one that's kind of like a more straight, direct path. So I do feel like for you, Anahara, that there's been a lot of detours that have been happening on your path, and I don't want you to question any of the detours that you've taken in the past and wonder if those were the right moves. But looking forward, it feels like there's detours that sometimes you take, and this is going to be tied to the finance side, that feel like it's like a get there quick kind of thing, like a shortcut. And it doesn't feel like most of those types of things have panned out. So just moving forward, I want you to get really clear on the direction that you're heading, and to stop trying to take the shortcuts all the time, because I think that that's the thing that's sort of getting in your way, and it's sort of blocking your energy. And then you sort of beat yourself up after for trying to take the shortcuts and them not working. So that's what I'm getting for you around finance right now. So leave it with that. Okay, so let's see. Okay. Guys, I'm trying to see. I don't know that there's time to do another one. It's 7:58. Okay, so it's 7:58, so 7:59 now. So I think we're going to bring it to a close since I usually wrap up after an hour. I have one more of these that I'm going to be doing before my maternity leave next week. So if you want to join me, I will be here next Monday at 7 Pacific on Facebook, on YouTube, and I'll get to as many people as I can. I know not everyone got to go tonight, but next week, if I recognize your name or you didn't get to go next week, I will try to like hone in and target in on you. Oh, Anna Hare, I did do your reading last. So as soon as I turn this off, you should be able to just like go to the final few minutes and rewatch that because the recording will be live on Facebook. So yeah, join me for my last live before maternity leave. And then I'll be back with some other version or iteration of this probably in the new year. I don't know if it'll be exactly like this, but we will see. So have a good night, everybody. Thank you for joining tonight. Bye, guys.